Hi, welcome to Miss Richardson's U.S. History 5-minute lectures. This information will be U.S. Notes 3.5, the U.S. enters World War II. It includes information that aligns with the first and the second sections on your Unit 3 study guide. Remember, you have control of the lecture. Pause, write down any questions you have, write down information that aligns with your study guide, make sure you're using that study guide, and rewatch as often as you need. So make sure you ask questions if you have them. Let's go ahead and get started. In 1941, everything changed for the U.S. regarding their involvement with World War II. Franklin Roosevelt had laid the groundwork for a change in foreign policy, America turning to internationalism, but one event would solidify the support Americans felt for this policy. That event was the attack on Pearl Harbor by the Japanese military. So what exactly happened? Well, the U.S. had felt threatened by Japan's aggressive actions in Asia. Japan had been moving steadily east towards American possessions in the Pacific. In response, the U.S. built up a large navy prior to 1941. They actually moved that navy to a home base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, in the Pacific. So they were feeling threatened, they wanted their navy there. In 1941, Hawaii was actually a U.S. territory, not a state. So we had our navy in this territory in the Pacific, as Japan was very aggressive in the Pacific. The Japanese then planned to eliminate the entire U.S. Navy in a single attack. They didn't want the U.S. to be involved in World War II, and they believed that this attack on Pearl Harbor would actually keep the U.S. from being able to enter World War II at all, because they could eliminate our Navy and we wouldn't be able to have any ships to transport goods or soldiers or anything. So on December 7th, 1941, Japan attacked Pearl Harbor and severely damaged the U.S. fleet. It was a surprise attack occurring without a formal declaration of war by Japan. In addition, so it happened before the formal declaration of war happened. In addition to the U.S. being blindsided and offended by that, the brutality of the attack raised public support for entering the war on the side of the Allies. So it happened on December 7th. On December 8th, the United States declared war on Japan. So due to that alliance that we talked about before that was formed in 1939 between Germany, Italy, and Japan, making them the Axis powers, war with Japan meant that war was going to happen with Germany and Italy as well. On December 11th, 3 days after we declared war, Germany and Italy declared war on the U.S. So effectively that ensnared the U.S. into World War II. We were involved in both Europe and the Asian War. So along with Great Britain and the Soviet Union, the U.S. planned to push the Germans back into Berlin. So the plan was to attack from all sides. They were going to push through France in the west. They were going to go from the Soviet Union in the east and kind of push those two together. And then they were actually going to come up through Africa into Italy and push up from the south and just push everything back to the center of Europe until they defeated Germany. So that was the European plan. Force a surrender by pushing them out of the areas they controlled. In Asia, the plan looked very different. So we had fewer militaristic allies. We just didn't have anybody with a big military there. So the plan was actually to use this technique called island hopping. So we could create a supply line into the Pacific, and so we could get close enough to the islands, the home islands of Japan, that we could actually launch an attack on Japan itself. So we're going to island hop our way across the Pacific in order to do that. So two different plans depending on where we were looking. So in December of 1941, these plans were put into place. Over the next 4 years, brutal fighting and heavy losses on all sides illustrated the desire for everyone to win this war. So that's the end of U.S. Notes 3.5. Let me know if you have any questions. I will see you in class tomorrow.